This is a PlayStation 4 controller that was recently sent to me for modification. The gentleman who owns it has muscular dystrophy and can't click the thumbsticks. I'm going to show you how to add the two buttons to help out. Opening these up is pretty simple. It's only 4 screws, and then you just pop it open. There's a little ribbon cable you'll need to gently remove. It just pulls out. You can then move the battery tray out of the way. I use wire wrapping cable just because I like the way it looks. It's really tiny, and the controllers can still be closed easily with this inside of them. I tin the ends of the wires. That's just adding a little solder to the ends of the wires to make them easier to solder in place. And then I solder them on here. Those bottom 2 pads there that you see, those are the click for the thumbstick. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Notice I have them off to an angle to the side. That makes it easier for routing them over to the side of the controller. It's kind of difficult to solder while not getting in the way of the camera. Once you've got those soldered in, you can just place the battery tray back in its spot. It clicks in place. And then flop the battery back over where it should be. I drill 2 holes. You don't have to. The 2 holes just help me keep track of which cables go to which button. You could use different color cables or just have a better memory than me. You can see here where he has marked the controller where he wants the buttons, and I'm scratching up the surface of the controller so that the glue will stick better. Here's my tray of parts. Finding a few little tactile switches here. You don't need all 4 leads, they'll just get in the way, so I clip off 2. And then usually I just bend these out with my finger, but you couldn't see it with my big fat fingers in the way, so I bent these out by just pressing it down on the workbench. A dab of hot glue holds it in place while I solder everything together. I pull the wire through the holes that I drilled, making sure to route it carefully inside so it doesn't bump into anything. I trim it to length and strip the ends. This is a horribly dangerous way to strip the ends of the wire, but this stuff's too small for my wire strippers, so that's just the way I do it. And then solder it in place. Again, much easier when I'm not trying to do it so that the camera can see it. Trim to length, strip the ends, solder in place. The entire modification to the controller takes a total of 8 solder points. It's extremely simple. Everything else is hot glue and a couple holes. At this point, I plug in the controller to test that everything's working. We can see here the little lights turning on the screen that indicate the buttons are working, which means I can hot glue everything in place. I don't try to make it pretty. It would take me too long to make everything beautiful for everybody. Hot glue is ugly, but it does the job beautifully. It's nice and soft, and it holds up over a long amount of time. Careful not to lose these little springs in the triggers. If the triggers fall off, they just slide back in and the triggers pop back in place. And then the shell, the back of the shell can be put on once you've reattached this little ribbon. You just shove it back in there. Carefully, but you shove it back in there. Slide the case over the triggers and then pop in place. Put the 4 screws back in. And then you have a fully modded controller for muscular dystrophy. Well done.